Hi, everyone, and welcome to Chamber Talks, the podcast where we break down everything happening in and around your Fredericksburg Regional Chamber of Commerce, from events and cool business trends to real talk about workforce and community growth. We've got you covered. I'm Carly Swain Walker, Senior Vice President of Workforce and Community Development, and this month we're shining a spotlight on internships because, let's be real, they can change your whole career path. Today, I'm super excited to chat with Rachel Richardson, now a transit planner with FXBG Go. She's here to share how her internship experience helped pave the way to where she is now. Spoiler alert, it's a good one. All right, Rachel, let's do some rapid fire questions, get us warmed up. Okay. How's that feel?
Yeah.
Awesome. So, coffee or tea?
Tea.
Tea? I'm coffee.
Oh.
What's your tea order?
I love herbal tea. I love chamomile. I love green tea. I love black tea. But I love all kinds. But my go-to, herbal.
Herbal tea.
Yeah.
All right.
What about your go-to coffee?
I am a medium roast kind of gal with a little slight cream, slight sugar.
Wow.
But if I'm getting fancy, I like to add some caramel in there.
Wow, you know your coffee.
Yeah, I do love some good coffee. So that's for sure. Dream job as a kid versus now.
My dream job as a kid was to be an artist, and then my job now is planner. So I guess there's some overlap.
Kinda, yeah.
You're
you're artistically planning the transportation of Fredericksburg.
Yeah, the routes kind of look like paint strokks.
Yeah. So painting. You like paint? You still like to paint though?
Yeah, I still paint.
Okay, that's cool. I have a painter at home too.
Wow.
First thing you do when you leave work?
Well, when I leave work?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I have an hour commute. So I drive, and then when I get home, I just like to watch TV, and then I'll stretch while I watch TV.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been catching up on Severance. Have you seen Severance?
No.
It's so good.
Okay.
Carly, you have to watch Severance.
All right.
It's so good.
I'm here for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get all of my TV tips from this podcast.
Ooh.
Like people, we always somehow end up talking about TV shows. So last time I had a podcast, we talked about White Lotus, and so that's on my list.
Yeah.
And then Severance, is that what it is?
Yeah, it's on Apple TV.
Okay.
Which is weird, but it's worth it.
Okay,
yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
So staying in the TV realm, what's your favorite reality show?
Ooh. That's a really good question. I really this is basic, but I like Love is Blind.
I'm a fan too.
Yeah. I don't know.
The last season was great. I was really hoping for more than one couple to actually end up staying together, but you know.
Yeah, each season it just is less and less couples that get married. I don't know what that is.
It's so interesting.
Yeah.
What was the name of the couple that got married this go round? I can't remember. But I remember him being shorter than her.
Oh, yes.
And he was worried about that. Do you remember that?
Yes. And then he got her eyes tattooed.
Yes. On his chest. That's right.
Yes.
Well.
Yeah.
Love is blind,
and
apparently.
And they thought that he was a stalker. Yeah. Wow. Love is blind.
Love is blind. So let's jump into a little bit more about you and your journey to your current job.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your internship. Was it at FXBG Go?
It was at FXBG Go.
Okay.
I got hired there my junior year of college.
Okay.
And so a professor referred me, and then I started working there. And I worked there for about 2 years, and when I graduated, they let me work remote. And then now I'm full time. I'm back in the office.
Wow.
Let me mute my phone.
You're good. So you were a junior in college. Where were you in college at?
I was at Mary Washington.
Okay. University of Mary Wash. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Local. We love that.
Mm-hmm.
So was this your first internship?
Yes, this was my first internship.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you really did a full circle there. That's great.
Yeah.
So what were your expectations going into the internship? So let's think back to that point of the journey.
Mm-hmm. To be honest, I didn't have any expectations just because I knew it was an internship and I guess I was just going off of stereotypes of what internship, so a lot of grunt work.
Yeah.
But no, it ended up being very relaxed. I ended up really loving my coworkers and really loving to work there. And I learned a lot, and I grew a lot. And if I made a mistake, they didn't kill me. And so it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the flexibility and the openness and the willingness to let you learn as you go is really what I'm hearing is what sold you on it, I guess you could say.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when I went in, I didn't really have any expectations because I got referred. And so then when I started, I didn't really know what I was doing. And then I kind of just picked it up as I went along.
Yeah.
And it was great.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you said you heard about the opportunity through your professor. So is other classmates, is that how they heard about it, or heard about other internships, or were you targeted specifically for this because of your major? Like, how did that all work out?
To be honest, I'm not really sure. I went to my professor and I asked if she had any internship opportunities. And I think that this was more of an internal thing where Jamie was asking people that she knew if they knew anyone that'd be interested in the position. And so because I asked, I think she was like, you should intern here. Yeah. And so I went for the interview and they were interested.
Awesome. And Jamie, for the listeners, is?
Jamie Jackson is the director of transit.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yes. I serve on the FXBG Go Council, which is similar to like a board of directors. And that's actually how I met Rachel. So, and working with FXBG Go and a lot of things that they're working on. So, as you were in the internship, what do you think were some of the most like more valuable skills or lessons that you gained during your time there? So you were a junior in college when you started, right? And then you graduated and now you work there, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But during that internship, what do you think were some of the most valuable skills that you gained?
Absolutely. I think that everything I learned about transit, I learned while I was there. So I was a historic preservation major because I was interested in planning, but UMW is such a small school that we don't really offer planning resources. And so I started there and I learned, so everything about transportation I know through working there. I learned a lot about sort of networking and how to sort of work with other government agencies, not just transit. Right. Because I know we work a lot, with FAMPO. And I learned a lot more about sort of having to be, asking questions and being adaptable and learning new things. And when you're an intern, it's much more acceptable to make mistakes. It's kind of like a trial run. Yeah. And so, it was just kind of me messing up a little bit and then improving.
Well, let me tell you, I mess up every day, and I'm a full-time employee. So if you can't give your interns and your employees grace, then what are you even doing, right? So now this is your job, right? So can talk about when the internship started to feel like, wow, I'm like really growing here. I could see myself being here as a like full-time job when I graduate. Like, when did that shift start happening?
I think it was maybe about a year in. I just was like, wow, like I could see myself doing this. Like I really love like what we're doing here. I love that we get to help the public, that we get to work with them. And I really just want to be involved more in that process and anything I can do to sort of help someone, make their commute to work a little easier or make their commute to school a little easier. I would love to be involved in that. They posted the planning position, or my boss told me about it, and she encouraged that I apply. She said I'd be a good fit. Right. And I said, I will think about it. I'd love to work here. Yeah. And so I applied, and now I work here.
So how long have you been in the role as like a full-time employee?
It's been about 2 months.
2 months.
Yeah,
so
it's been recent.
You're very new.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So what is a transit planner?
A transit planner is someone that, at least in my position, that implements new bus stops or takes away bus stops. So looks at ridership, sees areas that people are more interested in, areas that people are not utilizing as much, and adjusting the routes as needed. Also sort of working with operators to see if we can implement new routes or take away routes. So right now we're sort of changing our routes. So we just redid the Fredericksburg routes, and Spotsylvania will be coming soon.
Yeah. So changing routes for a transportation company, which is basically what you are, that sounds confusing to me. Like,
Does it?
honestly, that's not how my brain works. So
Oh.
I'm intrigued by some of the steps that
Can I
go into
ask,
that.
what part do you find confusing?
Just it seems like a lot of moving parts, and like you have to ensure like the ridership is, what's going on with them. And then there's the community and how they perceive the transportation, right? And then you have your drivers and what their thoughts around it, and then just the general public, and then you actually have to get into the mapping and the artistic piece, like you talked about.
Yeah.
It just seems like a lot of moving parts. So,
Yeah.
but that sounds like that's what your job is.
It is a lot of moving parts, and thankfully we do have a transit strategic plan that we kind of based our routes off of. So we work with people, and that's where we surveyed people, and we sort of had our mission goals and our statements.
Right.
And so thankfully we have that. But yeah, part of it, I mean, any planning job is you work with the public, and then you get your feedback from the public, and you sort of are like, okay, this doesn't work. Does this work? And you just cooperate with people. And that's government in general.
Yeah. Well, this is true. This is true. Well, I mean, I think that, you having that skill set coming, what was your degree again, or what degree were you seeking?
It was in historic preservation.
Historic preservation. So that's similar.
Yeah.
But even thinking in that like more left brain side of things, I'm more of a big picture kind of gal. So that's what I meant by like really honing in on those like minute details. It seems very difficult to me. That would be me massaging the other side of my brain.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's cool though. I mean, there's careers out there for everyone that really fits into their skill set.
Yeah.
And it sounds like this one, through your internship, you realized this fit into your skill set.
Oh, definitely. I think that when you were saying that you like more big picture, I like more small details.
Yeah. There you go. But it takes all kinds to run businesses throughout the community. So Fredericksburg is growing. The planning district 16. So you've got Fredericksburg and Spotsylvania and Stafford and Carolina and King George. So does FXBG Go represent all of planning district 16?
No. So we represent currently Fredericksburg, Spotsylvania, and Stafford.
Okay.
We used to have service to King George and Caroline. Unfortunately, we're still getting our numbers up from COVID. And we have been doing really well, improving our numbers, but it's hard to plan for King George and Caroline just because they're more rural counties.
Right.
But hopefully in the future, we can get to that point and we can service those areas.
We hope so, because we love King George and Caroline. Yeah, we always want to, include them in the hug. So with that growth, though, is that part of the reason why you think that you're having to change the routes? Is it growth based, or is it solely based on ridership and what areas people are riding?
Well, I think that ridership and growth kind of play a hand, because as it grows, I think there's more demand in certain areas. We're incorporating a lot more. There's a lot more like medical centers being built in Spotsylvania, for example.
Correct.
And so can people get to those medical centers? Can they get to their jobs? It's sort of just us evaluating and seeing, okay, this doesn't work anymore. How can we improve this?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So, so you found out about the internship through your professor. You were at the internship, and then the job was posted. You decided to apply. You got the job. You've been in the job for 2 months now, right? So that is part of your journey. So what was your favorite part of that journey that we're discussing today? Was it initially getting the internship? Was it getting the job? Was it somewhere in between? Like, what was your favorite piece of that puzzle?
That's such a good question. I think that my favorite part was just, I guess, getting the job, because I didn't realize how much I've grown and how much I've learned until I got the job. Because I think deep down I knew that I was qualified.
Yeah.
And I knew that I had that potential.
Yeah.
But then it sort of was like, oh, yeah, I do. You know?
That's cool. Yeah. I mean, that ties right back into, just believing in yourself, but also it sounds like the team at FXBG Go believed in you.
Mm-hmm.
And that ties me into my next question. So, have you had a mentor or someone that was helping guide you through this? Is it someone at FXBG Go? Was it your professor? Was it someone else?
That's also another good question. I had a professor that I really looked up to, and she is the planning professor for historic preservation.
Okay.
And I think that I wouldn't say mentor per se, but I think that she inspired me a lot, and she's what got me into planning, and she's what sort of gave me this job. And
Right.
I look up to her a lot. I obviously look up to Jamie and also the deputy director, Melody. I look to them a lot. I think it's really inspiring to have two women as bosses, and sort of how there's role models. And I think that they're just, the good thing about transit is that they're so susceptible to change, because things are always changing,
Right.
and they're open to new ideas. And I love that.
That's wonderful. Girl power. Yeah. There's actually quite a few females that lead the way over there. Yeah. So, and now they've added you, and you're sharp and you're passionate about it. And I have a similar journey. So I got an internship my junior year of undergrad with an adoption and foster care agency, and it was a nonprofit organization. And I became so passionate about that work, and so quickly, similar to you, that it urged me to go and get my master's in nonprofit management. And then, as they said, the rest is history. So I've always worked in like a leadership executive role at nonprofits since then.
That's great.
Yeah. So, I mean, internships can really shape your entire career. Do you think that, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you'll still be in this type of role?
Yeah, I think it's just kind of like something I'm so passionate about, and it's
Yeah.
kind of just like, I don't know, I could see myself in this role, I think that I just like have so much to offer.
Right.
And I really love what I do, and I love helping the public, and yeah, I could see myself here.
That's cool. I mean, just to think about, fresh out of college, in your first job, and to think about 5 to 10 years from now, you could be the next Jamie. You never know.
Maybe. I don't know. Jamie's irreplaceable.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, she may move on too. So, that's really cool. Talk to me, because I feel your passion. We're sitting here, we're talking about internships and, new careers, but you keep going back to accessibility and transportation and the people, and I'm feeling that passion. Tell me more about that. Where does that passion come from? Why is this such why are you so drawn to this?
Yeah, so I think that I've always just sort of wanted, I don't know, I think society works best when you kind of just look out for one another, and if I can just make someone's life a little easier, which is just, they can get closer to their job by a mile or something,
right?
Then that's a good day in my book. I've done my good for the world.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. Yeah, I think that as the human population, we have to be there for each other and help each other out in ways that, hand up type thing. So it sounds like we're the same that way, which is very cool. So what exactly, for those listeners out there that don't know what we're talking about when we say FXBG Go, tell us more about what it is. Is it trains? Is it planes? Is it automobiles? Like, what is it? And maybe a little bit more about, what the routes are.
Yeah, absolutely. So Fredericksburg Regional Transit, otherwise known as FXB Go, which recently did a rebrand, so you might know it as the Fred Bus, is now FXB Go. We provide bus service to Fredericksburg, Spotsylvania, and Stafford. We provide, I want to say, about 6 routes to Fredericksburg, 4 routes to Spotsylvania and 5 routes to Stafford, as well as the Eagle Express, which is our collaboration with the University of Mary Washington, which is a weekend service. So if any students are listening, please feel free to use the bus. We offer service to the mall and downtown. You can go any way you need to go without a car. And we are currently fare free, so it does not cost any money. So invite your family, invite your friends. But yeah, we are your local transit service.
Awesome. And Rachel, tell us how many buses are on in your fleet?
That is a very good question. I want to say I don't know the answer. I'm going to be honest, Carly.
Okay, that's all right. I don't know the answer either, and I'm on the council, so we're in the same boat there. So think about, like, if you can, if you would not have gotten this internship, and maybe you didn't get an internship at all, and you finished at the University of Mary Washington, how do you feel like it might be different?
I think it would have been very different for me. I think the culture has kind of changed, where I think that in college now you're sort of expected to get an internship. It's kind of like an unspoken rule.
Right.
And so I think that if I didn't have this internship, I think that it would have been a little bit harder for me to sort of pick myself up off the ground, because I think there's only so much you can learn in a classroom. There's only certain things you can learn by doing. And so I think this internship has just taught me so much that school could not have taught me,
That is a great answer to that question. I think that you're spot on. I think without the real life experience, whether you're getting it in high school and college or just college or, whatever your scenario looks like, it really is eyes wide open and gives you a different lens to look at what you might want to do or maybe what you don't want to do. I like to tell people too, like, you could have gone into this internship and said, oh, this is not for me. Like, I'm going to do the work because I've signed up for this and I'm going to, but then when we're done, I'm moving on and I'm going to go paint murals, because this is just not for me. So it helps with that as well. So that's what we, through our Workforce Now initiative here at the Fredericksburg Regional Chamber, we are always promoting that our businesses and our students come together in ways that are meaningful, because, you are our future workforce. So I'm glad that you said that. What advice would you give to students out there, either seeking internships or currently in an internship?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that the answer you're looking for might not be the answer that you're expecting. Because I originally thought that I was going to do preservation work, go into preservation planning. And then I took transit just because I was curious and I ended up loving it. And now I do it full time. So I would say take risks, do things that are outside your comfort zone, because I think you're a lot more adaptable than you think you are.
Wow. Very solid advice. So expect the unexpected, be bold, take risk, and take the internship, right? All right, Rachel. Well, is there anything else that you want to share about your journey from student intern to full-time career? Anything else that you'd like to share with us?
I think we've done such a good job of covering it. I think that if there's any students listening, I encourage that you apply and you believe in yourself. I think that what you've learned through school, that you're more than capable of doing at an internship. And whatever you don't know at school, you can pick up. So
wonderful. Well, Rachel, you've been fun and insightful and a really great guest on Chamber Talks. I really appreciate you coming out today and sharing more about your journey and helping us promote Internship Month, which is the month of April. And we look forward to following your journey.
Yes. Thank you so much, Carly. And I appreciate you inviting me.
Awesome. This has been Chamber Talks. I'm Carly Swain Walker. Today we had Rachel Richardson with FXBG Go, and we are excited to follow her journey. Stay tuned for more internship footage in the month of April. Thank you.